Get a new worksheet that has to do with some trig, I like to put SOHCAHTOA at the top of my page. I highly recommend it. Okay. All right, so here we go. A damsel in distress and is being held as a captive in a tower. Her knight in shining armor is on the ground below with a ladder. When the king stands 15 feet from the base of the tower and looks up at his precious damsel, the angle of elevation to her window is 60 degrees. How long does the ladder have to be? Okay, so here's her tower. Her knight in shining armor on the ground below with a ladder. So we know there's a ladder leading up here. When the knight stands 15 feet from the base of the tower, see how it uses the word base, how we know it's on the bottom usually, base of the tower. Okay. And looks up at his precious damsel who's 60 degrees away. How long does the ladder have to be? Is everybody okay with how I drew my picture? Is there any confusion there? Like you thought it was for something else? No. We're okay? All right. What is 15 to 60 degrees? Opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse? What is it? Adjacent. What is x? Opposite or hypotenuse? Hypotenuse. There you go. So that means I use which trig function? Cosine. So I'm going to go cosine of 60 degrees equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Now these are the newer ones where we have the x on the bottom. What do we do, guys? You want to walk me through this one? Times both sides by x. Good. So I get x cosine 60 equals 15. Now what do I do? Divide by cosine 60. Yeah. Because they're being multiplied together, I want x by itself, so I divide by cosine 60. I know cosine 60 looks funny, but you can just think of it as one number, because it really is. So we're going to put 15 divided by cosine 60 into our calculator. So you want to go to that calculator page, you hit 15. How do you find cosine, sine, and tangent again, guys? Trig, that little trig button next to number 7. You want to make sure you hit 15, divide cosine 60. If you forget the divide, you're going to get a very different answer. And we should get 30 feet. Okay, why don't we try again, just like we've done before, where this time I'm going to read it aloud and you're going to draw your picture. Okay? Draw it in pencil if you're still worried about this, or be willing to cross it out. Suppose you're flying a kite and it gets caught in the top of a tree. You've let out all 100 feet of string for the kite, and the angle that the string makes with the ground is 75 degrees. Instead of worrying about how to get your kite back, you wonder, how tall is that tree? Okay, so again, you've let all 100 feet of string of the kite out. The string to the ground makes a degree of 75, and you want to know how tall the tree is. Draw this picture, guys. Come on. Label where the 100 feet goes, where the x goes, where the 75 degrees goes. Can't get better at it if you don't try, right? It's important for you to know how to do that. The questions are going to be very similar to this when you guys take that. So we have to prepare you for this. Okay, where would the 100 feet be? Where would the angle of 75 be? What are you looking to find? Okay, if you have that and you feel pretty confident, go ahead and label it opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse. And if you feel pretty good about that, pick sine, cosine, or tangent. So everybody has the string is sideways, right? It's the slant, it's 100 feet. We've got right here with the ground, it's forming a degree of 75. And we're trying to find the height of the tree, right? Okay. X is the what? Opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse? Opposite. And what's 100? Hypotenuse. So we are going to use sine. Sine of 75 equals opposite over hypotenuse. How am I going to get x by itself? By 100. Good, good. So we stick that in our calculator, and what do we get, guys? I said 96.6. If you put 5.9, that would be fine. You get the same. Okay? 96 feet. You guys, you know you're doing trig right now. That's pretty awesome. When you thought of trig, did you think that was going to be super hard? Guys, you're doing pretty good. When I walked around, most people had this drawn correctly. Okay. A submersible, I can't say that word, a submarine, we'll say a submarine, is traveling at a depth of 250 feet and dives at an angle of 15 degrees with respect to a line parallel to the water surface. It travels a horizontal distance of 1,500 feet during the dive. What is the depth of the submarine after the dive? Okay, we're going to draw this picture together because it's very weird. Okay, it's different than it usually does. Okay, so let's first start with, here's the top of my water. Everybody okay with this so far? Here's the water. We are 250 feet below that. Because we're a submarine. So here's the water, right? Like here's the surface of the water, but I'm 250 feet below that. So I have to remember that I'm 250 feet below because it's going to ask me what's my total depth. Oh, it could have been at the either end. It doesn't matter. Because I still haven't done my angle. Because it says right here, this is a very weird one, parallel to the water surface, I go 15 degrees more of a dive. So I'm not going straight down. I'm going in an angle of 15 degrees. Okay? If I've gone, I told you this one was weird. If I've gone 1,500 feet, what is my new depth? Okay, so this one got really weird because we're underwater and we're already under 250 feet. Yeah. Well, we're underwater, so we don't really have, because as long as we say so many feet underneath the water, that's kind of like saying negative. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what x is, and then whatever it is, we have to add 250 feet to it, right? Because we were already 250 feet under when we went at a 15-degree angle more. Okay, what is x to 15 degrees? Opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse? And what is 1,500? Adjacent. Okay, so we're going to use sine, cosine, or tangent? Tangent. So the tan of 15 degrees equals the opposite over the adjacent. So now I just do what? Times by 1,500, or 1,500, and I put in my calculator 1,500 tan 15 equals x, so x equals what, guys? 401.92. So hold on, I'm 401.92 feet below the surface of the water? No, because I have to add 250. And I'm 651.92 feet. Okay? So why my picture looks so strange is I have to make sure I add that 250 to my end. So I want to put that on there. And then I'm under the water, going down, and then I move at a 15-degree angle.
Would it matter if it was like the other way around? What we usually do?
I find it hard to draw it that way because I know I'm going down. So if you switched the triangle, you'd have to like think of going down in the water as going up in the water. That hurts my brain. So there's a possibility that yes, you could do it that way. But it might get a little confusing. Okay, I want you guys to try this last one. Ready? You're going to draw it yourselves. Brother Bob and Tom Katz buy a tent that has a center pole of 6.25 feet high. If the sides of the tent are supposed to make a 50-degree angle with the ground, how wide is the tent? This is kind of a trick also, right? So draw your picture, and then we'll go over the rest together. Draw your picture. If you solve it, that's great. You can go ahead and solve it. But there is a trick to this. Good. I just figure out one side. Remember, it says 50 degrees with the ground. So where would that 50 degrees be? That center pole's height is 6.25 feet.
Wait, so if X is on the bottom,
Gotta label it opposite adjacent and hypotenuse. Oh, when you set the equation up? Yes. Yes. All right. So I saw some people do the drawing more than one way, and you have more than one way to do it correctly. When it tells me my center pole is 6.25 feet, I think of the tent looking like this, right? And it's supposed to make a 50-degree angle with the ground, and I want to know how wide the tent is. I saw others of you draw it like this, where you're like, okay, I'm just going to figure out half of my tent. And then you just have to remember to do something in the end. Okay? Either way, either drawing is fine. But remember, if you draw this one, you just have to cover it up and you're going to do half because we're dealing with right triangles here. So this is my opposite. This is my adjacent. So I know I'm going to use what? Sine, cosine, or tangent? Tan. So the tan of 50 equals opposite, 6.25, over adjacent, x. When I have x on the bottom, I have to multiply both sides by x. X tan 50 equals 6.25. I divide both sides by tan 50. And I get x equals 5.24 feet. So is my tent 5.24 feet wide? No, how come? Because you have to do the other half of the tent, right? So we'd have to times this by 2, and my tent is 10.49 feet wide. Okay. You guys ready to do the back for homework? I'm gonna stop the recording, but you guys keep working